Okay, welcome to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're listening to Ninja Cat 111 and Dezert-Owl. And we're about to have another live stream telling you things that nobody else is saying anywhere. And that didn't come out right, sorry. I've had a bit too much coffee. I want to welcome everybody. G'day, how's it going? I love you all. G'day to everyone in the chat. Lynn, I'm glad you made it. I knew you'd be here at some stage, but I'm glad you made it. It's good to have you here at the start. G'day Forbidden History Live. I love doing that. And g'day Yo Janir. Thank you for joining. I know you're busy. I know you're very, very busy. So thank you for listening in. And Cosmic, I'm beside myself. If you haven't subscribed to the Cosmic Essence, please do. It's my other channel. We're working on uploading all short clips, some are long, and it's an easy reference channel. If you're looking for something in particular, you can go straight to that channel to find it easily, rather than sifting through all the live streams. Any new listeners, there's links in the description for our other channels. This isn't the only one that we broadcast from, and I'll put some information up on the screen. We'll just get through the introduction first. Love it. Yeah, I know. It's gorgeous, isn't it? That picture. Anyway, we'll get on with the program. Okay, the signs of the times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time. Who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were, and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the Earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. Desert discusses the ultimate in mind control and ancient art and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time, through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end, they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it. But they are cleverly leaving us in the dark. Hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water, to tainted vaccines, to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Dezert-Owl, who I'd like to welcome to the program. Reading that, how's it going, Desert? Before I continue, I will get a sound check.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good to be here, Ninja. Thank you.
No worries. Just reading that, it brought a tear to my eye. Just thinking about the destruction lately over there where you guys are with Dorian.
Yeah. But do we? It's the same. In other words, just like when they have a tornado, when they have these typical events, hurricanes, tornadoes. Yeah. Every year it's another version of the other version. It's like, okay, once you've seen it, you know what it does, so I don't need to look at it anymore. I already know what it does. I know I've seen it all my life. So, but you know how we get caught up in it? We got to see it one more time, and that's really the diversion. But the other thing that we can see is that they are staging an unnatural event, because the hurricanes never operated in this fashion. So one thing we can see that is important to see that is beyond the normal is the fact that these are weather manipulated hurricanes, and literally they've destroyed the Bahamas just like they destroyed last year Puerto Rico and all that. So destruction.
Totally flattened. That's what upset me a little bit. Like I'm trying not to watch. I'm trying to stay away from all those videos. I was more watching the lead up, like what the storm was doing and how they were doing it and all that sort of thing. But just seeing one or two videos on the destruction, it's wow. Right.
Well, to open with the word destruction is good, because there's also people that are trying to destroy the truth, and so I just want to make a comment on that, because whenever you're telling the truth, you will be attacked, and those who have no substance behind them, then the only thing they can do when their paradigm is being threatened, what has been handed to them by tradition, then they attack what they don't comprehend, what they cannot understand. But the evidence of whether somebody's an authority or not will be that they will put up multiple projections of where they get that from, but when you have somebody that's attacking your work, and yet at the same time they curse like a sailor, or would even make a sailor blush with the profanity that comes out of their mouth, well, you can know immediately that they are merely self-deceived. Because the first one they're deceiving to put on the guise of Christianity, quote unquote, and then to make Yeshua out to be a profane character, because we are the images of the Moeshiach, of Christ, and then to do those things in their regular 9-to-5 behavior, is so pathetic and so sickening that it doesn't deserve comment. But I will this one time, since they like to listen in as well, and maybe it will touch their heart and they'll have an awakening for the first time in their,
You said that really well as well, like.
Well, we have to say it right, because it's
know where to start.
I'm not moved by being attacked when you have dedicated your life to knowing something that nobody else has been able to figure out. Then you're standing alone with the the unique enigma of sounding different, and therefore what sounds different can disrupt the algorithm of the mind controlled victims, because they it does not compute. They cannot relate to the diatribe that they've been hearing all their life, and therefore they will resist. What was it that the people that were under mind control will resist the truth? They will resist it because it doesn't sound, but because the story that I talk about, just as I proved out just on like 3 broadcasts ago with you, I showed you. I didn't just say it. I showed you where the lies in the scriptures were when the Masoretic, the Masorite, because this other party liked to promote Hebrew and doesn't get that the priesthood is the controlling faction of our spiritual tradition, a la the Vatican. You see, it's a front that there is no Israel. It is a pseudo-Israel, and they even admit within their own writings that they are not Israel. And so it's all an open secret, and you can read it. They put on the guise of Israel as the cover for their Babylonian Talmudic tradition. That's why they took out the sacred name and put in Adonai. You see, it's not a mystery. It's all an open secret. But other people, they'd rather kiss off on the news broadcast and the commercials and say, Israel, Israel, oh, I love Israel. We got to save Israel. We got to send them some money. They're poor people. The victims. Oh yeah, the victims who committed mass genocide in Palestine and have made the SS stormtroopers look like Boy Scouts, and compared to what they've done to the Palestinian people, to the Christians, and to the Islamic people. Not that the Islamic people have their heads on straight either, because of they're following a false narrative of, well, all the religions are controlled. And so if you think that tradition is going to hand you the truth, when yet it says in Revelations that the beast system has deceived the entire world, well, what part of the entire world don't we get? That means all translations, all words, which are engineered outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators. And then you get little foul mouths that come on, and they think they're the authority. They're the authority, and they're going to go ahead and now go behind your back. And when on the front they pretended to love you, now they're going to kill you. Give me a break. Even Yeshua said, when his followers came to him, said, Yeshua, there's some people over there casting out dark natures, in your name, but yet they don't follow us. Should we go stop them? And he says, no, don't stop them. For there's nobody that can do anything in my royal title that can lightly speak about me, or in other words, to speak wrong about me. If they're doing it in his royal title, in their mind they think that they're serving him. So let them go. They will figure things out for themselves, or to have a revelation. So the darkness serves. Does not this darkness serve the light? Sure it does. The darkness is preserving the baby. They could have just destroyed our scriptures outright. We never would have had another remnant left. But instead, they wanted to pretend to be like him, right? They pretended to be like the light when they're the mother sons of darkness, right? You see, so they're serving. They're the greatest fools and stoops that there ever were on the planet, all for a perk and a party, So it's a great mystery. And so as you know, I've produced here, and I go at it a dozen different ways whenever I'm presenting something.
Yeah.
So you can see and read it for yourself. I didn't say you're to follow me. I never said you're to follow me. I said at one point you won't need me anymore, right? And then I say that. Yeah. You won't need me anymore, because you'll be able to see and read it for yourself. That's my job, is to help you to read. Nobody taught us to read. We have to read symbolism. We have to read the Eshavors, and we have to read the Shultres. Oh, Eshavors, by the way, are words. The original, because word is war, and there's and then also Shultres is the original word for scriptures. Okay, there's so many directions we can go. And do you want to jump in before I continue here? I got excited.
I just want to agree with you.
A little bit passionate about what I talk about here.
I know. I was just letting you go. I'm just trying to find that Eshavor graphic. I don't know where it's gone. I just want to agree with what you were saying. You put it on the table and leave it there for us to do what we want with it. We can walk away from it, or we can soak it up. Yeah.
If I purport that I'm following a tradition called the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, which is the original Aramaic, and saying that the Hebrew and the Greek are deceptions, then maybe one should investigate it. Wouldn't that be worthy to do before you condemn my my premise here?
Yes. You've done your research. I know you have. And you prove that every time we speak publicly or in personal phone calls. You prove that over and over and over again, that you have done your research, and you're still doing your research. It's ongoing. And anyone who wants to insult you and say that you're wrong without having done the research, it's just I don't know, it's obvious. You don't
I talk about the issues. I don't talk about people. I talk about the issues.
You don't use insults and everything like that. It's unless
it's the key, the kingpins, Alex Jones, and who's an Israeli front, and also the same with David Icke, an Israeli front. The people follow them blindly as well, and think people turn into lizards, and that the moon was made by aliens, and and of course, InfoWars is a military code word for public disinformation. Most people don't know that, but now you've heard it here first, of course. So unless you're a journalist and a researcher, which is what I've been. Broadcaster for over 30 years, had two organizations to discover what the beast system was all about: Council for the National Interest and United Truckers Defending the Constitution, until I found out the Constitution was another irrelevant rag. We have to learn things for ourselves, and I paid my dues, from that standpoint. And so shall I continue on words? We'll do some words, and I got some symbolism we're going to do, and some dictionary of all scriptures and myths. I'm a little ramped up today.
I have something that I noticed.
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to write it down at the time, and I didn't want it to disappear and never come back. So I'm just getting it on my phone. I emailed myself because I had my phone in my pocket. Okay.
And want to welcome all of our new listeners out there. If we have new people stopping in as well, to all of our wonderful engineers and Yogineers and friends that stop by.
Okay. And ditto what Desert said. Sorry, I'm looking up on my phone. Right. When I was clipping The Great Flood for Cosmic, I was listening, and you were talking about how India. You were talking about the progression, like with the map, and talking about India, and then talking about America and Washington and Colombia, and I don't know how to explain it the way you do. America being the new India, and you said.
Well, it was the new India before America existed. That's why they call the native peoples, even to this day, Indians, right? Because if you're from India, you're an Indian. Yeah. And so this was on the map. We have a picture. I think you must have the picture.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Right? New India. That's what it was prior to the phony discovery. Columbus was a phony discovery. And there we see the word Columbia, so it means the Twin Towers. It's all an occultic ritual that they're going through, that in what they do in their telling of history, right? You've got to read the symbolism and the signs.
Yeah, and you said, and you mentioned Americu, and the coup got me.
Well, Well, it's a feathered serpent.
curious.
That's the Toltec god, the Maracu, the feathered serpent.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're naming America. In other words, it's an occultic term because we don't never get the picture, but it means the phoenix, the rising phoenix. From the ashes rises the phoenix, the new serpent, not a worm, because in the mythologies they use the word worm, but it's not a worm, it's a serpent, okay? And in fact, in Old English, worm is serpent. You see, because the worms go serpentine through the dirt, but the serpent is the worm in that tradition. Okay, we use different words in different places, so that's where confusion is derived. That's where the trick can be played. But the serpent, the feathered serpent, and it also represents. In other words, I even defined the word penis was originally phoenix. You see, they abbreviate that word. They do it to all the words because they've got to keep the slave stupid. But of course, why would the male, sexual organ, be, referred to as the phoenix? Because when we're in the act of making love, it's a metaphor for flying. We're flying like birds in our lovemaking, right? So it makes sense when you look at it rationally as well. And so, but the phoenix, the phoenix is a metaphor for many things, not one thing, as all symbols are. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I continue?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a search on coup because it made me think of related to the military with coup, but I wasn't sure, and so I did a search on it, and it's spelled COUP with the silent P, and I took a screenshot, which I'm just loading. It says here, when the word coup is used on the nightly news, it's usually describing a military government takeover, which I saw straight away with India taking America. Or do you know what I mean? Like, that's probably not said right.
Well, the coup. It's not as much a coup as it is an organized plan. You see, it's just another game. It's another game they're playing on us. As we said, in the word chess means guess, because they've in other words, they've laid claim on the world from the beginning. And it's a maxim that first in time. Right, first in time is superior in law. Well, from the beginning, when they had their anti-gravity vimanas, when they were ready to build their pyramid stations around the world, one guy proved out on his presentation I saw one day that they set up a stone monument at the center of each landmass around the world. A stone, what we might call dolums, or other stone structures, circles, things of that nature at the very center. And then what was interesting that at these central points, there was typically found a tribe that was very Aryan-like, typically blonde hair.
Wow.
Like even in Australia, the Aborigines have blonde hair, you see, as a remnant of something like that. And so the patterns, we have to look at patterns. So they set up their stone monuments first, saying, okay, this is our property. If you went out in the woods and you marked off some boundaries on a property, well, you would feel you have a legitimate claim because nobody else was there, right?
Yeah.
So the point is that it's an unannounced claim, because it's merely by the symbolism that is what is most important within a chivalrous. The symbols rule the world, not words nor law. And therefore, and how could they find the central point? When you can fly up in the air, in high altitude, you can find the center of a landmass, right? You can find it. And that's what they did with their anti-gravity vimanas. They went up high, then they come down at the central point, build their stone structures as symbols, and then they plan on coming back. They come back, you see. And so the different waves of cultures that came to America were just another version of the other version. The priesthood has always been on the ship. The first ships that went out of Mezar had on their Hindu priests. And we hear the stories about out in the Grand Canyon, they had, what looked like Mezar, falsely called Egyptian remnants, and then at the same time going along with Hindu remnants. You see, so the priesthood of the Hindus were the first ones. These were the beginning Brahmin, sovereign priests that had the merchants working for them. It looked like the priest was just going along for the ride, wanting to preach religion. But no, he's the power broker. Religion has always been the power broker. Then later on in time, when we had the Phoenicians, then it was the rabbi who had switched out the name from Yahweh to Adonai, and that was why it was also the Phoenician god, and who demanded blood, and then they went around the world on the ships. So you had Phoenicians and rabbis. Rave, really correctly, which means royal star. And then finally, forgive me, Barb, for figuring a few things out here, but, I did pay my dues. So, but anyway, you get that Barb in you, you can't get it out sometimes, Ninja, forgive me. Okay, but anyway, then you have with in later time, you have then the ships of Portugal, Spain, France, the Dutch royals, England, German, all of them. And they have, what priests do they have on? They got the Catholic priests and the Jesuits on board, you see? And so they're always the power brokers. They get us thinking religion's just coming along, wants to convert a few people. No, that is the sovereign, the religion, running the world from the beginning of time. They knew the metaphors and the story line of the Savior that was to come to redeem mankind. They put on the cloak of benevolence, but they are the mother sons of darkness, doing their deed, following the Luciferian occult nature, which is represented by the moon and not by the sun. They pretend the sun of light, but they are mother sons of darkness, and the moon is the occultic symbol of their Luciferian. There is no woman with a dress on and boobs that does damage every night. It is strictly a culture that, and then when you can read the word, Lucifer is the word. Lucifer is the Lucifer. Even in the Hebrew occultic destroy our tradition handbook called the Tanakh, which is they call also the Sefer, the Hebrew Bible. Sefer means the code, okay, the cipher. And you see, because the original word for book in the Aramaic, not the Hebrew, which is what they want to get everybody controlled by, the original word for book is shulfar. Shulfar is the ram's horn. Shulfar is the scribe. The shulfar is the pen. The shulfar is the book. And literally shulfar means the knowledge of fire, the knowledge that goes far, and many other things, see? And but no, they don't tell this anywhere because they have stolen our pure tradition and given us you think the Jews would want to help Christians? Come on. That they're going to give us when they call it the Masoretic text. Well, that's why they had to change the name, from Meitzar to Egypt. Egypt is a late coming code from just 350 or 400 years ago, and it is Egypt is correctly Meitzar. So the Masoretic text of the Hebrew Bible is the Egyptian text. Are you getting the picture?
Yes, well said. Well sparked, Desert. Please continue that. I have more, but I do need to let the cat in. He's about to break the window.
All right. So go ahead, and I'll continue. You can listen in while you're doing that. Are you listening?
No, but I'll be really quick.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'll just mention. And
I have more on coup.
All right. I'll just give out some where they can go to hear more information while you're gone. All right, till you get back. So and everybody, welcome to the broadcast. And you're listening to Ninja Cat 111's The Forbidden History Chronicles right here every Tuesday and every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And also you can go hear the original broadcasts I did starting June 21st in 2018 on The Forbidden History Series. 4 words, The Forbidden History Series. Okay, and you will hear some things that nobody else talks about, but from my standpoint, it is relevant truth. And because we've been lied to, the truth doesn't come to you on a silver platter wrapped in tinsel gold. The truth is buried. The truth is buried, and you have to dig for it. So if you think your Hebrew Bible or your King James Version is telling it to you straight, well, I can give you all the evidence that it's not. But other people, they don't want to know, because then they might have to change something about their behavior or their orientation and their orient. There's the word orient, you see, because we have to go back to the Orient, which is the original word for East, by the way. East is a corruption of the original word for Orient. So we go back to the East. We get our orientation because our tradition that we follow comes from the East. It went west, and west means death, and that's how they killed us, by going west and burying the light. When the sun sets, it sets in the west. And, so it's just amazing. These people worked for thousands of years to deceive mankind. And you think they're going to just hand you a book and immediately it's going to be true, correct, complete, not misleading, when they worked overtime to deceive the entire world, to enslave your mind, to enslave mankind. Okay? Yeah. So, are you back yet, Ninja? No, she's not back yet. Okay. So now she's Skyping me. I don't know if she's got an audio problem. Let me see here.
I just sent you a message as you were saying, "Are you back yet?"
Oh, okay.
I'm back.
All right, you're back. Okay, yeah, I had that closed out. All right,
I was going to let you keep talking. Can I finish coup?
Oh, right. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Because I can add to that point you were making. I'll just do it real quick, and then you can continue. So coup, as we see with in the word. Let me type it in here. Okay. Q, C-U-E, ball, is really the cue ball, right? And so the cue ball, so see that, how you can see, how do you spell Q? C-O-U-P, right? Right? So we can see how Q and Q, the letter Q, all look and sound the same. Well, it's because they are all related. They are sisters to each other, and that's how they jumble up the meaning of words. You see, because they're all the same in their element. The Q is the queen, right? And the Q is the controlling. Remember when we talked about chess, the queen had all the moves. So the Q ball is the one that bumps everything else, and the queen is in the Q, because they work for their Luciferian woman, not for the father of light, but the mother of darkness.
Wow, I just saw something.
Right.
Sorry.
That's right.
I used to play a lot of snooker. The cue ball is the white one, and its job is to sink the black ball, the dark one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you're right. In other words, they reversed the image, right? Because the 8 ball, see, 8 is the number of return, right? 8 is the number of return.
I didn't even see that.
So they painted it black, because the 8 ball should be the picture of light, and the one that's hitting everybody else is the white ball, when that should be the black ball.
Yeah.
You see? Because the light is return. Remember, Yeshua rose on the 8th day, the first day of the weekend, and the 8th day in that last week when he was betrayed. So it's the first and the last. It's the 1 and the 8. And so they make the 8 ball black. That's called the black sun, as we see over and over again in all the symbolism, right?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, the last little bit that I had on that, I'll just read what's written here. Talking about the describing of the military government takeover. It says, however you use the word coup, don't say the P at the end. It's not pronounced like chicken coop. It sounds more like a dove's coo. And just in the reference to the birds there, I could just see it when you were talking about the phoenix and the feathered serpent, and and just all that. That's all. That was all.
Yeah, right. And the coup. So the coup is because they're birds, right? They're in other words, they're claiming to be owls. They're claiming to be phoenixes. They are. So the word coup, it may be where it came from. In other words, like they say, a little bird told me. The metaphors that we find within our diction. Or we could also call them idioms, like I'm stiff as a board. I just talked to a bird, It's all relative when we are trying to piece back the original thought. So we put it all on the table, all these sounds, and that's how you follow the trail back. Unless, of course, you got some good dictionaries to help you out at the same time, But even the dictionaries are not all true, correct, complete, and often and not often, I won't say, but many times misleading. The Indo-Germanic dictionaries are really phenomenal. That I've got in my library. It's the modern dictionaries that are lying. Not these attempts of these scholars to go back. But the only distinction is that they are also controlled very often by universities, so they're not going to let out, about the two O's versus the letter U. They're not going to, they'll still use a W maybe, or, so in other words, either the publishing orientation is being controlled to a certain degree, not to let out all the truth, and that's a part of it. And because scholastics has always lied to us, we're always going to know in part. We're not going to know unless we have a miracle, unless a miracle revelation coming from the one who made all things, which is what happened to me. I shouldn't have been able to decipher the code. It was never, in other words, I wasn't smart enough to do it. It's the divine grace of Yeshua who has been breathing before me and through me through all of these years, so that I just had a heart that wanted to know, but I also saw how inferior I was in my, coming into my makeup and what, the school did to me, my parents did or didn't do for me, the mountain I had to overcome of being stupid and being, abandoned by family, and the struggle that I was in. So it's the fact that the grace of the Father is so great that he just grabs somebody and he's going to use them. Just like Moses, Moeshan wanted to save his people, and then they say, "Who do you think you are, buddy? Didn't you kill a guy the other day? Maybe we should tell on you." And then he runs from Meitzar, and he's in exile for 40 years. Wow, that's an interesting number, 40 years. And then he's called by a vision. He didn't figure something out. Then a revelation comes to him saying, by the way, and it's not a burning bush, it was a burning tree. They lied about that. It wasn't a calf that they made to worship, a golden calf. It was a golden bull. We find the bull in the Torah as well, because it was never called Torah. Just as I have my notes here today, the words Pharisees and Sadducees, these terms did not exist before the exile. Okay, they have nothing to do with Israel. Okay, put that feather in your cap. Pharaonic is what Pharisee implies. Pharaonic, just as Meitzar implies Egypt, Pharisee implies Pharaoh, and therefore Egypt, and therefore Meitzar. Get the picture, Ninja? And Sadducees, as it sounds, are the seducers.
Wow.
Okay? Right. No life. So therefore they offer no life after death, and thus also they offer no responsibility, Barb. Okay, no responsibility. Just do as you wish. That's their motto, actually, the occultic. Just do as you wish. That's all. You can do anything you want. Go play your game. Lie to yourself. Be self-deceived. Use your filthy mouth and make it out to be something, benevolent. And fool yourself, because you're the only one you're fooling, and you can't fool those who have eyes to see what's right on your surface. These terms came out of Babylon after the 70-year exile. Pharisee, Sadducee, Torah, all of these words came out of Babylon, including the Babylonian Talmud and the word Adonai, where they took out Yahweh, which became corrupted, and then people mispronounce as Yahweh. They're making a good attempt to get back, but there's no W, it's a V, and these things are all provable by deduction, So anyway, there's some of the words there. Now you wanted to finish, right? Because I'm going to get on a roll if I don't make sure you didn't finish
You're
the point.
already on a roll. I just have one more. I thought I saw something in another word, but I looked a bit more, and I don't know, I might bring it up. But this one, the word good, G-O-O-D, when I was reading, I saw the word goods, as in belongings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that can be used, with the S on the end, when describing physical possessions with that word. People always say goods. They never say the word good, like without the S, when referring to physical possessions.
Yeah, that is interesting. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and just I see a contradiction there, like between the word good and goods, because they're kind of opposite, because physical possessions don't mean anything.
Right,
and
right.
They're of
Well,
this world.
but the word good, the word good is also milquetoast as well, because it typically is used to supplement the word perfect. Okay, and so goods is plural, and because if you have one item, you don't say I have goods. Because in other words, you then identify the object, because goods implies multiple of things, not one thing specific, but multiple, right?
Yeah.
So there's different ways.
That's
of
what I
looking
was saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but the word. So we see in the word, but look at the word. Okay, G for the gold, and then the two O's of symbolizing the two eyes, the sun and the moon.
Yep.
The all-seeing eye and the blind eye. Two eyes. One is blind. One is all-seeing. And then, but the D is the corruption. There's your death. You see, and so it's implying, therefore, whatever seems so good may have the sting of death hiding behind it.
Wow. So goods is even worse, because it's got the D and the S on the end of it.
Well, the sound is a Z, right? It's goods, not goods, goods. You'd have to say goods like that. You say it's goods, and that's a Z. So the word is lying, because it doesn't sound as it presents itself, and that's a lie in diction. You see, a corruption, because words are supposed to sound as they appear. Yeah. That's the rule. That's the original thought. Yeah. One sound, one symbol, right?
Yeah.
Not multiple, like in Hebrew, where they then have 5 or 6 letters that if they appear at the end of a word, then the symbol changes into a whole nother symbol. So they have like 30 plus variables of about 34 variables of symbols, and you can't make one of them out to begin with. You don't see a circle, you don't see an A, you don't see a V, all relative, and like the letter L in its presentation and its form, and that's why you can know right on the face that Hebrew is a sham on mankind, and it's really Yiddish. It's not even Hebrew, because that's going back now 3,000 years. What it really is, or when that alphabet came out of Babylon, actually the Hebrew, what we call Hebrew alphabet today, came out of Babylon, and at the time Ezra was the high priest in Babylon, and we find the story actually in 2nd Ezra, or Esdras, as they like to change the word, so we never figure out that's the same guy, in the Apocrypha, and it's. And I lost my thought at the same time. What was the point I was trying to make?
Talking about Hebrew.
Yeah, the Hebrew, right. So today we're speaking really it's nothing other than Yiddish, you see, and so it's so far removed, and the symbols continue to change through time. We don't have pictures of the originals because they're prophetic liars. So how would we expect them to be telling us when I've already proved out that the lie is all over the place in our scriptures? And then like in Psalm 19 is a Psalm 119, which has those the 100 and some odd verses in there, and every 8 verses they put a Hebrew Yiddish letter, right? And so they put that in front of every 8 verses has another Hebrew Yiddish letter, and yet when you go back to the originals, like in the Septuagint, right, the first translation ever to come out of Yochelleg in Greek, Koine Greek, it was not in there, and it's not in the Aramaic of George, the Lamsa of the Aramaic Peshitta, and so clearly they interpolated the Hebrew, showing that they're the controllers at the center of the book, the very center chapter of the book. I'm talking about New Testament, Old Testament, they put their code. Every 8 verses. And what does 8 mean? Return, 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 like the mantra. And that's why in the book of Genesis, which is a false term for Ganesha, the original word, the Ganesha meaning the garden of the royal eye, then we find that every 50th word in Genesis in the Hebrew is a GH all by itself, and it's another mantra because, as you know, GH means return, and GH are the first two central letters on your keyboard, and so it's the mantra, return, return, return. You see, to mean that they want to keep everything in their possession within the Babylonian Talmud, the same very meaning in the word attorney. Atturn means to keep into possession of the regal. It's a shell game of hide and seek, and nobody knows how the game is played, but they think they know everything because they opened their King James Bible and got religion, you know?
Wow, does it? Wow. It's all opening up. Like, as soon as you mentioned the 8 in the middle, in the center, I was thinking of the GH. I was looking at the GH on my keyboard right in the center there. And so, yeah, I was seeing it as you were saying it. So, wow, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah.
And even in the word say, you know, when you open the program, you used the word say. I can't remember now the pretext you were using it under, but
I don't know. I was all gobbledygooking at the start. So.
Well, the word say, if you had one letter, which is the sacred vowel, the secret vowel L. Notice there's no restriction; it's a vowel L, and it's also does a double play with the R. That's why you can get the word alien and find out it means also Aryan by changing the L to an R. Knowing who the aliens really are, just Aryans playing the great trick on us. But the word, add the L and you get slay. So if you say things, you can slay. You can slay people with words, is what it means, you know. Okay, so
words are swords.
Yeah. And so there was a few words, and we can go to a break. I think it's about break time, but I'll do a couple last words here, and then we'll go into dictionary. Can
I just say that last word that I don't really think is anything, but I'd like to know because I'm curious.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at the word smart, S-M-A-R-T, and associating it with smartphones, smart meters. And with the smartphone, I also, I don't know if this is right, but I also saw the word phony with phone.
Well, the word phony comes because the Phoenicians were phonies. The merchants played the trick, right? Their game is a game of control and deception because in other words, they don't like competition, right? And so they had to be phony. So that's where the word phony comes from, Phoenician, and it also has to do with sound and phonetics, right? So whatever sounds are coming at you may not be true, may not be correct, may be incomplete, and you may be being lied to, right? And then also, what we find in the word Phoenician is the with a V, because the P is synonymous with the V in the switch out, as well as with the F. But in this instance, we go to Venetian blind is a Phoenician blind. They're hiding behind it, right? You can see through the cracks. They don't know you're there, but they're looking at you through the Phoenician blind, like the computer would be a Phoenician blind, right? Venetian. Yeah.
Wow.
The veneer makes it look good. Veneer makes something look good, but still behind it is the corruption. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll stick with smartphone for now. I want to move on to smart meter. Actually, smart meter will be quick because I can see it with meter. I can see. What was it? I can see matter. I can see motor with meter. Is that right?
It's all, they're all relative terms. A meter is a motor, right? When you look at the meter on electricity on the house,
Okay, now with smart.
Wait a minute. Go further. So a meter that counts numbers. A meter that little simple device that's still a motor, right?
Yeah.
Because it's functioning, it's moving. Mortar. Mortar mean what they say? Give me more mortar, right? Mortar. So you're creating a motor by getting mortar. You're passing it on. So it has to do with repetition. That's what it means. Like
and measurement, like a meter.
Yeah.
Where centimeters and a meter.
That's right. Yeah, it's a continuation. It's a continuation of some form in a device, right?
Wow.
Or in a divisive manner. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Now with smart, I knew I was trying to see something, and I don't know if it's there or not. But I rearranged the letters and came up with. I didn't write it down. It's all in my head because I didn't know if it was anything. I just need to see it. Hang on. Okay. With smart, I came up with there's an E missing in the corrupt word, but rearrange it and I got M-A-S-T-R. Stick an E in there before the R and you've got master. And smartphones are the master of mind control. That's where I was going with that. So is that anything there? Or
okay, M-A-S-T-E-R. Right. So okay, this is what you get out of smart. Let's look at it. It's an anagram. You're working on an anagram, so let me spell master. You also get markets. Look at you have the word markets in the
I see Kmart. Now you said market. I see Kmart.
Well, Mart is there, but it's an S-Mart, right? So this is an S-Mart, not a Kmart.
I just saw Kmart because that's a department store down the road. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
anyway,
so
please continue. Yeah.
Right. So master. So markets and master are two prima facie words in the anagram, but the serpent. So market. If we talk about the market, if we look at the symbol S-Smart, then it is a serpent market, right? It's a serpent market, and that would be true, right? Because everybody is a serpent, and the serpents go there to buy something. You want to put on your shirt and your pants. That's a serpent, right? So you're in the serpent market.
Buy your smartphone. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a serpent market. That's what it means. You see, look at all the iconography from the pharaoh's headdress to the seven-headed hydra or whatever you want to call it, the serpent, and the naga in India. The seven-headed serpent represents the 7 days of the week, and so it's just another version of the other version,
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. So master means mother star. Okay, master mark. So the smart is serpent market, and master's mother star. So that's what comes out of smart, right? The mother star.
Wow. I knew there had to be something there.
And the mother star is the light. The mother star is the light. So the light implies enlightenment and truth and peace, right? And all of those things. So smart, master, mother star, all related. But we go back to original thought in mother star. These are not the original words in the ancient, but they're relative to what it means, because star would be czar, right? Star is czar. So we would say the mother czar, because star is a corruption. Stir is a corruption. It is czar, T-Z-A-R. Okay, but so we're mixing. We're not going too extreme because we don't want to lose people in the terminology here. We can take it all the way, but what's important is that we get the picture. We get the pictures that are associated with these échevoirs, with these words, and then we don't forget once we know the symbol.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. That's great. And so game, we were talking. You put on the Cosmic Essence today. About the game of chess, and that was a great job you did. And so, I saw then I looked at the word game, as I can't avoid now. And so game would be, let me spell it in the chat. G-A-M-E becomes G-A-Y-M. Game, and that literally means. Spelled that wrong. The sun aim, because our objective is to aim at the light. So the first intention of the game was to go back to the light. In other words, the game, like the game chess doesn't appear to be dangerous. It comes to us on the surface as something that would strengthen our mind, right? It would exercise our mind to think, to be sharp, right? So it has a positive use. And we want our minds sharp because we want to figure out strategy and to be a winner in the game of life, right? Because it represents the game of life, but of course, what it really represents at the same time is the conspiracy to control mankind. So that's the big game, So there's a little game, we peons play with it, we have fun, but at the same time, it represents the big game of the sovereign priesthood, and that's why the queen can make all the moves, and the king can't make but one move at a time. He's got no power. The queen's got all the power, right? Because that's the nature of the game in the great mystery, And so, so it's aiming at the sun. So that's what's implied. Where the Skype or the chat and in the church, he knows the two ways, the knowledge of the two ways. So we go to the bishop because we want to, and I'm not talking about a Catholic bishop in that sense, but the bishop in the Protestant sense, or in the just the general sense of we go to a pathfinder, somebody who knows, so that we could be better prepared for an objective in our life. And but I realized then that the bishops in the game of chess, more correctly, because you see they're both on one side of the king and the queen, they really are the cardinals. We got to take it back to the cardinal, because the cardinal is the cardinal. You know how you have a door with a hinge? Yeah. You got the hinge on the door and the hinge on the door jamb, and they connect together, and you put a pin. So those are two cards, a card on the door, a card on the jamb, and in the middle goes the pin, and that's the card nail. The card nail is what everything hinges on. You see, everything spins around the card nail. So they're the power brokers working for the ancient Aryan Brahmin sovereign priesthood, the Aryan brotherhood that's been running the world from the beginning of recorded history, since the Aryan watchers fell to earth. Not invisible creatures with wings on their back, but Aryan Vekaresh. There's the word vicar, Vekaresh, watcher. No W. W in watcher is improper. It's not original, and it is the Vekar. The Vekar, meaning the way of the movement. The way car, as in car, is moves on the road. Ve meaning for way. So you can see, in Yiddish they say Ive, right? They say the way. And so Ve, car, means the way of movement. They are the movement, in fact, right? They're the power brokers. They're the movement. Vekar esh, the movement of the essence. So the movement of the essence implies then the movement of everything, because everything comes from the essence, you see. And so that's what's in the word. Words are important because words define everything. And if we could not communicate, nothing could be accomplished. Okay, so that's that. And then let me see. So when we get back, we'll do a couple more words, and then we'll get into the dictionary of all scriptures and myths, as well as symbols. Okay, so people are hearing it here first, and some people don't give it any credit or value, and they're not going to investigate this deeper science. It's all an open secret, but people love being lied to. They actually are happy with they're drunk. What the classic way Yeshua said it in the Lost Writings, and other writings, is that they're drunk on the old wine. They're drunk, and the old wine is good. If you're a wino, you'll drink mouthwash if you need a fix, right? And yes. But so the old wine is good. They're not looking for the new wine, the pure expensive wine. They can't afford that. So the old wine is good, and they stay drunk, and they think they're going somewhere, and they're not going anywhere. They're just a drunk. And so, but the new wine is what sets us free. So if you're not free from a filthy mouth, if you're not free from all the different habits that are of the world and not of the royal house of the sun, then you're just self-deceived, because Yeshua came to set us free from self, from ignorance, and from darkness, and all the bondage of this world, and that includes being stupid and being blind to what's been in front of them all the time. That's why the word is telling them on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, not evangelion, which is the word they removed, which means the star message of enlightenment. How beautiful is that meaning? When instead they switched it out for the word gospel, which means go spell, fool, because you can't. Okay, they know it. They know it. And so they're proud of that they perfectly enslaved mankind in the beast system, you know? So, can we do a break?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
How long would you like?
5 minutes, you know.
Okay.
Give everybody a chance to get a break.
Right? Okay.
Right.
All right. Stay tuned, guys. Stay with us. And we'll be back right after the break. As soon as I find it, I had it right here. All right. Love you guys. Be right back.
You there, Ninja?
Sorry, I did your trick, Desert. I was talking and I had my microphone muted.
Okay, just so you know, we're hot. We're live right now, not talking on the side.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all good. Oh, yeah, I said welcome back and everything, and
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, because I had my little mute button going on.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, there's a lot to return. Thank you, Shelley, for the heads up on the audio. Okay, and I just want to say that
welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Desert.
Yeah. Right. There are some people who are builders, and I've been a builder all my life, actually. Even as a little boy, I was building tree houses at age 5 in tall trees, and then I ended up becoming a home builder, general contractor, construction superintendent. But all of my building was a metaphor for building things within the
Stream's green, and it's reconnecting again.
Reconnection successful. Shelley is saying live stream is over on Skype. She's Skyping. Now it's coming back. All right, I think we're back. I think we're good. I think I want to do a refresh just to get a clear picture. The picture is dull. For some reason, the picture is not sharp. And that usually,
isn't it?
It's a little, it got sharp. No, mine got sharp now, okay?
No, mine's dull.
And Shelley says all good on her end. Thank you, Shelley. Okay, well, I'm going to get back to the point I was trying to make, okay? That I've been a builder all my life. I've been, a home builder, general contractor, cabinet shop, and I could build a house single-handedly from bottom to top up, and that's what I did. But what I learned in the political activist movement when I became, an American activist, being responsible with the things that I had learned, and that when I saw they were coming to kill our families, then I got involved, and just as I created a radio network to bring forth the truth, because I found out that the other radio networks were actually the enemy. They pretended to be Christians and pretended to be patriots, and they were actually the enemy. And then they would play games with, my productions behind the scenes. People order my audios, and then they get blank tapes and blank CDs and all that stuff. All the effort we go to tell the truth, and somebody comes along to destroy it. And so I'm very grateful that in the symbolism I am a builder, and all the evidence is true that I am a builder, because I have been building all my life upon the truth that has unfolded for me through the scriptures. I ended up with 60 different versions of the Bible on my shelf, 2,000 plus books. Okay, and I can just elaborate on that. Then, of course, studying the Indo-Germanic and the Indo-European, Indo-Germanic mother tongue, the Aramaic, the original, studying the priesthoods, occultic traditions, and all that. And so we apparently have somebody, going behind the scenes and trying to manipulate our listenership, and who curses like a sailor. And I think on the surface anybody should get that. But these destroyers that come along, Barbara, are don't do things. The scripture says that Yeshua did everything openly and didn't do it in secret. He says that anything done in secret will be revealed, and that so I'm very honored to be persecuted and hounded by you, that you would actually contact our friends and tell them that the work that I do here is not true, not correct, not complete, and misleading, because you don't have any substance. But if you'd like to come on the program and to bring forth your arguments, we can attack the issues. I'll be happy to do that. But you won't have any standing, I could reassure you, because you have no, on the surface of all your behavior, there's no evidence that you serve Yeshua in any way, shape, or form, but are here as a destroyer. And you're the first one to deceive yourself. You're self-deceived in your own arrogance and your own phony philosophies. Okay, so that's what I want to say. We ought to dedicate this program today to Barbara, so that maybe she could wake up and get some real help from Yeshua that she needs, Ninja. But anyway, now let's get back to the important work that we were detracted from by disinformation artists and detractors, because that's all it can. In other words, what is she producing on her channel, right? Is she doing this kind of work? Or is she just looking up at the sky all day long, looking at the sky? Whoa, oh, the sky, like, okay, how much of that do we need, can't figure out already that it's all broken, we're going down. And now let's talk about the real important things, which is the substance of life, the Indo-Germanic, the true Yochelleg, the words that have been taken from us. Should we not define words correctly? When what's in a word? Everything is in a word, right? Everything. And so I'll go over a few more words real quick, and then we'll move forward. Okay. So just like the big disinformation artists, just like the little ones, the reason that they've gone to Sumer and the Sumerians and have put on the false narrative of that they are aliens and that they're Anunnaki, is because the true culture of the Aryans is right there, right after the Great Flood, which is the Mediterranean Sea, by the way. Ninja also put that up on the Cosmic Essence. You can go hear the dissertation on chess. Nobody's ever done that before. You can go hear my dissertation on the true flood. Nobody's ever done that one before. Ninja, is that not correct, as far as you know?
That is correct, as far as I know. I'm just looking for the picture.
Yeah, and so we have two latest uploads, not to mention we define who Adam is, all on the Cosmic Essence, which nobody has done before, ladies and gentlemen, nobody. Okay, that these things that we're presenting is what has been taken away from our consciousness. Okay, taken away from our consciousness. And so therefore, when you are not conscious of something, you cannot be looking at the right thing.
Exactly.
And so they got us thinking all, like there was a big envelope around the earth of water, and then somehow it fell down and flooded the entire world. Well, where'd the water go then? If it flooded the entire world, where did the water go? Or if you look at the map, can you not see that the Mediterranean Sea, if it truly is the flood, which Mediterranean Sea literally means the sea in the middle of the land, what land? Of all of Europe and Africa, which was joined together at one time. That is indeed the greatest flood that ever hit mankind, and also it made the Black Sea. It flowed over into the Black Sea, and the Black Sea became twice as big. Okay, nobody. I gave you the evidence of it. The evidence from the mythology, the Greek mythologies, to the geological evidence, and then the remnants of the civilizations that are under the water and the cobblestone roads that go off. I didn't just start doing this yesterday, Barb. I've been doing it since age 14. Age 14 as a historian, And so we're talking, about as old as she is, I think. And I feel sorry for her that she can't see and read things for herself and do a great classic presentation on her own network, but has to go and attack other people. So, but anyway, getting back now to these terms. So on Sumer, we find out that the Anu are there, the Anu, and this is where they get the word Anunnaki. I wrote this quote down today, and I said the primitive root form is of the highest order, and what is first is clearly what is superior. And Hebrew, what we call Hebrew, came out of Babylon with the Babylonian Talmud, and it is then corrupted for 2,000 additionally, 2,500 additional years, and today it's known as Yiddish. Okay, which if you knew the meaning of those symbols, then you would know that Yiddish is a corruption of and I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in there so Barb can learn something. Actually, she needs some help. Yiddish, which then would be Yud, like that. Ish. Well, let me put a hyphen in between ish. Hyphen ish. Okay, which then is correctly youth, Yooth, with a A after Utah. Hang in there. Okay.
City.
And hold on. And HH is ASHA. Okay, look at that. And then you'll see that what that literally means is the star, or we could say it like this, the WOMAN apostrophe S star. Okay. STI, there it is. See. So Yiddish implies the woman star. Who's the woman star? The Khazarians. They're claiming to be the woman star, right? That's what they fly on their flag, a six-pointed star, right? And so you see Yid in Yiddish is a corruption. The only legitimate letter there is the letter Y, which stands for the yellow light. But the I is a corruption. The D is a corruption. Ish is woman. It's correctly Aisha. Aisha is the woman. They took out the A, which is the first letter of the alphabet. Well, clearly the first letter of the alphabet represents the light that comes down, the pyramid of expansion of light and time, and also, therefore, the sun. The first is that which is speaking to us. The A is speaking to us, and it also represents the I, its original word A, and it means therefore, Yiddish. Yid is goes back to Yud, but Yud is a corruption, and it's actually youth. There's the word youth. What youth? Like a star. Why? Because the sun never gets tired, does it? The sun doesn't go out one day and say, hey, I'm not working today, sorry. Right? It keeps on ticking. It's the yutha. You felt when you were 18 years old and thought you were immortal, that you couldn't die. You know, you had so much energy flowing through you. It was great to be alive at age 18, you know? And so there's your Yutha Aisha. Yutha Aisha is the original thought in the Yiddish, the word Yiddish, and it literally means, if you want the interpretation, Barb, means the woman's star. But it actually means, even beyond that, the woman's royal eye. Okay, that's what it means. The woman's royal. So they're claiming these Khazars who are behind the scene blood drinkers and child molesters and make the SS stormtroopers look like Boy Scouts and are the most wicked terrorist organization. I'm talking about the Israeli Mossad on the planet, that took down the Twin Towers in New York with the Bush cartel and working with the Bin Laden family as well. They're good buddies, you know, all having a party together. That they are the most wicked people on earth. And some people actually think that they're going to give them the true skinny on the scriptures, right? When they're the controllers. They are the controllers. And so they claim to be the woman's royal eye. They're saying that they're the royal eyes of a star, of the sun. You see how the words work? Doesn't that make sense? Now you know the meaning of Yiddish, Ninja, huh?
Yes.
You know? And nobody ever said that to me. Nobody's ever defined that for me. I did it here live on the broadcast, and I put up. Okay,
I've never heard you define that before. I've never. Yeah, it's the first time I don't know. You might have.
Well, we've talked about the components. We talked about Ish and Isha as being H and good as being a corruption for youth. You know, they have to change the letters. That's the name of the game. To hide us from the intelligentsia that is afforded to us. Yeshua offered us enlightenment, the golden age of enlightenment, the star message of enlightenment, and instead we got stupid people, right? Stupid people that are as wicked as all get out by their nature. They claim the scriptures and they do nothing that defines them as following the scriptures, right? They live contrary to the scriptures, and but because people are not smart enough to, you know, see what's in front of them, then they buy into any lie, right? They listen to what they say. They become parrots. It's easier to parrot what somebody else said than to figure something out for yourself, you know. And so going back to my quote, then, you know, the primitive root form is of the highest order. What is first is superior. So in the documentary, if we know these documentaries about Sumer, and where they're purporting that they're, you know, Anunnaki and all that, if we know the meaning of the words, because they actually gave it away when I was watching this yesterday evening, and they said that it's Anu. Anu is, you know, Sumerian, and they're implied that it was for the sky. You see, so that's the false narrative. It's close, but it's not there. You see,
I know the one. I know the video you're talking about. Yep.
What they then said about Anu was that he was the ancestor of all ancient deities. And when I heard him say that, it was bingo, because what is the ancestor of all of creation? It is the light. It is in our solar system. It is the sun. Everything came out of the sun, out of the light. Our planets, our moons, okay, they came out from the sun. That's why they go around the mother star. And then, and so that is that is also known as the Ancient of Days. But remember, the sun is just a logo. It's just an image. But Yeshua is the atom. He is all things, and yet but beyond him is the spirit, the energy source that created all things, and that is Yahweh. But in our universe, in our solar system, then Yeshua represents Yahweh, and therefore he is Yahweh in our universe. Because if Yahweh came into our universe, that is the one who made all things out of his side, came the first woman, which was the universe, known as Aphrodite, the darkness, then it says in Second Esdras that if that Yahweh is, if you took all the stars of the universe and brought them together into one clump, that the power of Yahweh would still be 10,000 times greater. So we can see why he cannot come into our universe, and that Yeshua, who is also known as the Great Elohim and the Logo and the Word, which correctly is the Eshavor, which is the royal eye, is the active agent for Yahweh, okay? And so nobody defines these things like this, of course, because they can't. Because they're on the merry-go-round of Jesus loves you, yes I know, for the Bible tells me so, and I got my Hebrew and my Greek, and I don't need to know anything else, you know? But yet they can't define the metaphysics, they can't define the metaphors, they can't define the allegories, nor the parables, you know, or the idioms, you know, none of those things. They just know because somehow magically they must know because they got their little book in their hand, you know? Yeah. So therefore Anu, correctly, hear the words. On for one, that's the play of the one. Well, there's the light is the symbol for one. All things came out of the one into the multiplication of the 2, the 3, and then the 10,000 as it's in the ancient saying acronym. And so here the sky then is a cover for the sun. You see, that's what's up in the sky. The sky is just volume. It's a space that has nothing by itself. So what's up in the sky? When we look up in the daytime, we see the sun. And so the sun, therefore, why do they call it Anu? The one new, because every day it's another new star. Anu. There's the word where the word new comes from. You see, even though the W is a corruption, we see it in Nova, Anova, Anov. Yeah. So it wouldn't be Anu, it would be Anov. You see that it's just the word trickery. You know, you have to know the science. You have to know the letters.
Yeah.
You know,
Anu, a new star. Anu.
Yeah. That's what it is. New every day. It's new, and it's just like the old one. It's got all the same energy. It's continuing to do its job, and it's breathing life on creation. Without it, we're dead. So that's
from our
the
perspective. It's a new one every day.
Yeah. And so you see. So in other words, if you know the words, you can't be fooled by this Anunnaki nonsense. Yeah. You know, it's the Aryan race. They are the fallen ones, the children of Adam. They had all the knowledge Adam had because he named everything in the universe. He named everything on our planet. Therefore, he knew how everything operated. That's talking about free energy, about metallurgy, about gene splicing, about selective breeding. You name it, they had it, and they cut stone like we can't do today and lifted stone like we can't lift today, you know? And so they have to cover that narrative. They got to give us a false narrative. Otherwise, then game over, because then we know who's really running our world, and we might even know where to look for them, or at least not how to give them lip service anymore and bow down and worship them, right?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect you to stop.
Getting 4 words per hour, I think I'm getting on to.
I know. I didn't expect you to stop just then. I'm just happy to let you go.
Right. Well, let's give one more. I'll tell you what. I mean, here it is. Okay. Just like New Covenant, you know, is not new. Okay. The work was done from the beginning, we're told, but yet people will still use that term. Why can't we speak truth? Why do we have to use false narratives, right? Why
Yeah.
we repeat?
Yep.
There is no new covenant. It is the original covenant that Moeshan came down off the mountain with, but they couldn't receive it because they made a bull, not a calf. Great lie. They made a bull. And so he threw the stone at the image, and it was ground into powder. The stone was ground, the image was ground, and therefore the truth that was being brought down on the first instance, they could not receive it, and he had to go up one more time for 40 days and 40 nights and bring back down the second, which was the basic, 10, what we call 10 commandments. They couldn't accept the truth, they couldn't receive it, and that's why it was broken in front of them, and to show them that they were not worthy to receive the true light, Barb, and therefore that's why the what we call Israel ultimately was dissolved. It was annihilated because they were not worthy either. So the ones in the wilderness weren't worthy, and then the ones that went into the promised land were not worthy either. They proved out that that's why we have to be the second born in the Moeshiach, Yeshua. We have to be second born. And that the second born are the ones that are then reborn, remade, because the first creation is the corruption. Okay? And therefore, so literally what we might better call it, either the everlasting covenant or it is the star covenant, right? Because when he came off the mountain, his face shone like the sun, and Quran came out from his head, the 6 projections of light, as we see in the 6-pointed star, even though it's not really the Star of David, okay? Because he didn't have a flag and he didn't have a star, 6-pointed star, because we're told not to make images, occultic images. And the only symbols we were allowed to make is the alphabet. That was the only one. That's the power structure. The alphabet is the power structure, okay? And so that's where we then can get the pictures, but we have to get back to what's called the Phoenician alphabet, or what is correctly the original alphabet of the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, okay? So I've got more words, but I'm going to stop it right there. And yeah, I mean, it's unending, of course, because it's a code, and therefore, as you keep putting the symbols together, you can keep making more variable meanings, but nobody seems to want to hit the study. You have to work at this. It is a work, and so just like the word thank. Here's one more. The word thank. We say it all the time, right? And there it is, right in our face, but we don't get it. Thank, and it is the Ankh. You see that's Egyptian symbol, right? Wow. That they carry, but it's really, and what it means is, okay, which is, okay, the one fire. That we just talked about it, didn't we?
Yeah.
That the one in that Sumerian terminology, the Anu is the one. It is the sun.
Yeah.
Because it is the great logo.
So how would we say thank you? How would we say thank you?
Well, we can't avoid this. It's another way you could say I'm grateful. That's the way the traditional people say it. I'm in full gratitude. I'm grateful. So because I used to interview High Eagle, who also used to work at NASA, interestingly enough, but he played flute. He was a deep study on traditional peoples because he came from them. And so High Eagle said, I'm grateful. He says that they use I am grateful. So that's an alternative you can use, Yeah. Okay. So, but you don't have to worry. I mean, it's common, addiction, and it is a modern slice of something that's reflective of the past. It's hiding the original thought in it. You're not corrupted because you use something out of Matzar.
I'm
Yeshua
just
knows
aware
the
of
problem.
every single thing that I'm just aware of every single thing that comes out of my mouth these days because it's so corrupt. Yeah.
I'm gonna, before I go into the dictionary of all scriptures and myths, I'm going to read one symbol about out of the book of symbolism that I'm reading, and it's on the ring. Because the ring is the circle. The perfect ring is a perfect circle, right? Basically, it goes on your finger, right? And so it represents therefore sun and moon. I like the way in scholastics they say, they didn't know about the wheel until about 3,000 years ago. And then of course they looked up at that round image every day since man was here, and they didn't know about Feel, right? Like something going round, and so it's the biggest joke that they spew this stuff out, and people get, they didn't know about, or just like I like this one by the scholastics, the early Europeans back in, like 1,000 years ago, they only took a bath once a year. They were so stupid, lazy. I guess, the women liked them that way, I think the woman wouldn't want to sleep with them if they didn't take a bath. That's my opinion, but what do I know, So, rather crazy. And they get everyone to suck it up. Yeah, they didn't take a bath. Those Europeans. Wonder why they're called peons, of course.
Does it?
Yeah, they didn't take a bath. Shame on them, The women should have thrown them out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Of course, you wouldn't have to mention it either, right? Yeah. It's just amazing, Ninja, the games they play on it,
Yes.
Everybody's over there. Eat them up. Yum, yum, eat them up. Yeah. Dogma. I love that dogma. What flavor? Oh, never mind. It's pretty good dogma, though. Got to tell you. Just, never learned anything on their own, but everything they've heard must be true, because they learned it in school, or they listened to their Yiddish controllers. Ring. Like every closed circle, the ring is a symbol of continuity and wholeness. This is why, like the bracelet, it has been used both as a symbol of marriage and of the eternally repeated time cycle, right? Because the circle keeps going around, has no beginning, no end. Sometimes it occurs in animal form as a snake, that's called the Ouroboros, or as an eel. There's your L for the eel, which correctly should be ul, biting its tail, that's the Ouroboros, sometimes as a pure geometrical form. It is interesting to note that in some legends, the ring is regarded as the only remaining link of a chain. Okay, that the ring is regarded as the only remaining link of a chain. Thus, it is told that when Jupiter allowed Hercules to rescue Prometheus, it was on condition that the latter should therefore wear an iron ring, set with a piece of rock from the Caucasus as a symbol. That would be the Caucasus Mountains, apparently, as a symbol of the submission to his punishment. Another type of ring is found in the circle of flames, according to the dancing Shiva. That's the one we see classically outside of the outside
of CERN.
The collider, right?
Yeah.
And the dancing Shiva standing on the baby, doing a dance on the baby, the creator and destroyer, both, as who those Freemasons and the occultists love to identify with, which of course comes from where, Ninja?
Sorry, what
Shiva?
Was the question?
Where does it come from, the symbol? Hinduism?
Yeah,
from India. All right, New India.
I saw it in one of the. I got to watch one of the videos with all the temples and things, and I had a question about that actually. And I saw a little Shiva on one of them.
Uh-huh.
Can I ask? I'll wait until you finish your read. And then
okay,
I'll ask.
I'm almost done. Yeah, and so the point being is that as I point to the evidence. Adonai, is India backwards, the priesthood in the beginning, we see it in the movies, and then you see it right outside of CERN, the big circle, right? The biggest circle on the planet that mankind could make. Outside is the circle of the ring, and it's a Hindu god, Shiva, right? The builder and the destroyer.
Yep.
They're so proud of being builders, and they're pretty darn good destroyers because they're taking our world down. They destroyed our world. That's what they did. So, so continuing, Shiva. Surrounding, okay, let me back up here now. Okay, so another type of ring is found in the circle of flames surrounding the dancing Shiva as he performs the cosmic dance. This flame ring can be related to the zodiac. Like the zodiac and the Ouroboros of the Gnostics, there's that silent G for the sun, for enlightenment. But of course, the Gnostic actually implies the nobles, like of Europe. They're the real Gnostics in the sense of what they're playing with in this word. Not that Gnostic is a bad word by itself, but it's a game that's being played. We find it in Dan Brown's book, the Da Vinci Code, as well. It has you never know who the good guy or the bad guy is. Who's what and what's where. and what's up and what's down, and left hand, right hand. You never, unless you know these issues, unless you are a deep study, you're totally lost in these narratives. You can't unravel the great mystery because you haven't separated yourself from the nonsense. Like the zodiac and the Ouroboros of the Gnostics, it has an active and a passive half evolution involution, and stands for the life cycle of both the universe and each individual being, the circular dance of nature in eternal process of creation and destruction. At the same time, the light radiated by the ring of flames symbolizes eternal wisdom and transcendental illumination. So, there's some propagation out there about it's we shouldn't wear rings because it had some occultic symbolism. But as we can see, in the simple fashion, it represents the light, represents cycle. It represents sun as well as moon. Of course, they both cycle, and the moon is beautiful by itself. If we leave off the occultists that follow it, the moon is a beautiful symbol and is not evil by itself, just like a gun is not evil. It is people who pick these things up and then use them that are evil, you see, and invent all the false narratives. So rings, it's okay to wear a ring. I wouldn't wear a ring other than for matrimony myself. I'm not into jewelry or anything of that nature. It is about, I'm just talking about, the symbol of the ring itself, what it implies. So I wouldn't have some. That? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You just made me think. I used to make jewelry and sell it, like beaded jewelry and with crystals and things like that. And I used to wear a lot of jewelry. I used to wear the stuff that I made. And right now, sitting here, I'm wearing no rings, no necklace, nothing. I don't even have a bracelet on. And I just realised that it slowly disappeared. Like over the years, I slowly stopped wearing all the jewelry. And if I put the same amount of jewelry on that I used to wear, say, even 4 years ago, it would just be annoying. It would annoy me. It's more comfortable without it. Well, you see that. Yeah,
well, we put things on because it creates an aura. Like you see today, a lot of people putting on the tattoos because it makes them look, for lack of a better word, makes them look cool, or it makes them look tough or macho. The guys, and so it's like
comfort now.
But what they're doing is creating an aura, and because we've all been mind controlled, we don't know how to put things on the inside, which is the enlightenment of the illumination and knowing, to know that you can know who you are, where you are, when you are, and why you are, and who he is, where he is, and when he is, and why he is. In other words, to be able to become one with the one, which therefore then you would follow his handbook and read it and see it for yourself and follow it, not after you've read it, and then not to follow it. But so because they can't put on the inside because they're lost, they put on the outside an aura that gives them a character, gives them a character type. So that's, so I never got a tattoo myself.
Me neither.
And the scripture says not to do that. But if you have them, the good news is it's okay, because the Father knows you can't reverse what you've done, and therefore it doesn't mean you're disqualified from serving him. It just means don't do it again. Don't put on any more tattoos and live with what you got, because the flesh is the illusion anyway, and it will go. It's going away, and it's about working the spirit, putting on the spirit of light to become one with the spirit of light. So it's all a great mystery, but we have to see things as they are. And I'm just talking about the aura that people are wanting to create. Well, like that's why they wear all that jewelry, because they feel impressive, right? In other words, like at one time I had a turquoise ring when I was young, when I was 21 years old. I had a turquoise ring. It was really cool looking, made, silver setting, and I had a bear's claw. I worked leather, and I put a bear's claw. And then one day I just took the ring, threw it out the window of my car as I was driving, threw it away. And then I tore off my bear claw and I gave it away or threw it away. I don't know what I did with it, but I realized that these things were illusions, and that they didn't define who I was.
Yeah.
And I was going on the spiritual journey. So for a quick moment in time, just like I smoked cigarettes when I was a teenager, but then knew it was killing me, and I gave it up. So we touch on those things, but then we then know to leave them there, and we don't go there anymore because it doesn't give us life. It's about finding the truth about life. That's all that matters. Let there be Zorain.
Let there be Zorain. You made me think of another word. I still have that question in my head about the temples, but you made me think of another word just then. Bling. Yeah. Bling. B-L-I-N-G.
Uh-huh.
With
that's
jewelry.
That's a
bling.
That's a
you
jewelry?
Put the bling on. Yeah.
Okay. Never heard
with
of it.
The jewelry. Like, it's associated mostly with celebrities, rappers, with all their big chunky gold chains and things that they have hanging. Yeah, bling.
Okay. I guess it's just short for blink, right? You got to blink at it, right?
I don't know. I was just thinking of the ling.
Yeah, ing is creation. Well, L-I-N-G means creation. Bling. So it means the B is a V in the guise. So it's therefore it's the mother's creation is the implication, but it's not the mother's creation. It's people's creation. They've created it. The mother of light did not create these external things. Man creates them. So
Okay. My question about the temples. I got to watch that video with the word's gone.
It was out of India. It was out of India, and these were photographs from 100 or more years ago to show that many of these things were taken away from us. It's called Ancient Hindu Temples Vintage. Ancient Hindu Temples
That's
Vintage.
The word I was looking for.
Yeah. And
I'll put the link in the description.
It's by Vlad. What's the full name of Vlad's website, Ninja? I'll pull it up because we don't want to not give him credit if we're going to talk about it.
I'll put the link in the description at the end.
All right, put the link in the description. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah. The temples, the ones that the really tall ones with like you couldn't see it until they zoomed in on them. They were covered in people, and they were kind of triangular, pyramid-y kind of shape, kind of. And I was wondering...
they're also another symbol of the phallus because it's another form of an erection that goes straight up, right? It goes straight up.
But I was wondering, why are they covered in people like that? And I was thinking, is it just showing all the, like, with the Masonic levels, how you go up, each level you go up, you're given more information, more knowledge. Is it showing that?
Well, no, I don't know because we'd have to look closer at those images. But what it is,
carved.
It's depicting life. It's depicting, and it may be telling a story by reading each different image on a straight line. It could be, but the point is that if you look at all those temples, right, you realize that of all the temples in the world, all the pyramids in the world, it's clear that the ultimate masters were the ones in India, right? No question about it. Yeah. What they did in India surpasses all other rock cultures around the world, pyramid cultures, and therefore that's the evidence again that they were the ones that engineered the stone monuments around the world. It was a one world culture, and it's a Vedic culture, the one world religion, and it's the old world order, and they were the ones orchestrating it from behind the scenes. They were the unseen hand behind Maitzar, falsely called Egypt, and they're today the unseen hand behind the Vatican. That's why you see Hindus always showing up in a movie, or finally now we got them behind the president in a cameo shot with Trump. Because there now used to be Jesuit priests, now it was Hinduism that was revealing themselves. And in fact, the White House itself is modeled after Hindu culture. It's that design for that house goes back to India. So when you can read symbols, then you can know who's talking. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're putting the Vimanas right up on those temples. You saw the
Yes,
donuts.
I saw.
Those are the anti-gravity Mercury vortex run engines. That that's all an open secret, but nobody can read. Okay, so I'm in the. I'll tell you what, Ninja. I need a 3-minute break if I'm going to try to knock one more thing out. We're going to read on the Redeemer of the Soul, since that's what we talk about every time we're getting together, redemption of our soul. Then I got one definition here, 2 short ones in front of it, then or 3 short ones that are real short, and then we're going to get into that. So can we do a 3-minute break?
Yes,
and then we'll
can,
probably wrap it up. Right,
I think I need a bit of a break as well. So.
And we do take comments or questions on the chat. You put my name in all capital letters, and then just upper and lowercase on your comment or question. Love to hear from you. Want to welcome any new listeners to the broadcast, okay? And glad you tuned in. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Right, Ninja?
Yes, we'll be right back. And you heard it here first. Okay, just looking for the break. Okay, welcome back. You're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with Ninja Cat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel, and currently broadcasting from Forbidden History Live. Links are in the description on all these live streams. Please subscribe. They're both amazing channels. And g'day Zealot, how's it going? Good to see you here. Okay, let's get on with it, Desert. I'm curious.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a good read we're getting into. And hey there to Zealot. Good to have you on the broadcast today, Zealot. And we're reading out of the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths. And we're on the letter R. And so in here we have 3 shorts on the color red, but then we find the word red in Redeemer. Rather interesting. A symbol of ambition. So the red color is a symbol of ambition and power of the lower self. Well, I guess that's why the royals like to wear that red, right? Because they're pretty ambitious and they want to run the world, and also of the lower self. But we should include the stain of blood, because that's a prima facie color that represents the blood of the earth. And so that's why we associate Adam with red, but it was really the fiery magma. And then the next definition is red rose color, a symbol of divine love. Okay, so I guess...
okay, the duality there.
Well, a positive aspect to red, because the red could be associated then with the word passion, right? Passion is word. And then and their passion is phase shown, so it means the phase light, or then the light implies fire. So there's the element right there. Red, then the next definition is on red fires, a symbol of astral growth in the forms. Symbol of astral growth. So it's also a symbol of growth, the red fires, right? As we're, maybe that's what we see in the word shulfar, right? The knowledge from afar, but far is also fire, because you see a fire from afar. You see smoke in the daytime and the glow at night, So fire is far, because at least you hope it's far, otherwise you may be in trouble.
Yeah,
but there's the PHAYR, far, fair. The creation of, there's no F, and so fire is a word of our modern creation, but PH is the original for the F, and this is how the code game is worked, Okay, so now we're on the Redeemer of the Soul definition. Redeemer of the Soul, a symbol of the indwelling self, who pays. But by the way, did you give out how they can get the PDFs, Ninja? Let's keep that last one there. That's a good one for the red. Keep that there. Did you give out how people can get the PDFs yet?
No.
Okay, do that, because I need to.
I put a graphic up earlier, but I haven't said anything.
Just real quick, I need to do something with my throat before I read this.
Okay, all good. We welcome any size donation to help produce all of this, to help share this information. We do this with no funding, because we have to, and we love doing it. And any size donation will get you a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, and also a copy of the Book of Wisdom, and a sample of the original Gospel with a more up-to-date copy of the dictionary at the back. If you can't afford to donate, we can get them to you anyway. All the information is in the description, all the contact details. Just send me an email. I think the email for Forbidden History Live is also in the description, I think. But you can find all the contact details in the description on these live streams, and also in the description on Forbidden History Live. They're a must-have. They help you to understand. I was just going to say understand. They help you to comprehend and see and read it for yourself. Okay, Desert, you back? I'm kind of
I am, and we give half of any donation that comes in to Ninja so that she can relocate and get to a better place than where she's at right now.
Oh,
okay, so you're supporting a good cause in more ways than one. Translation project, and also our Yochelleg down in Australia. Okay, and she's under a great amount of oppression that's unjust and not right, and she's kind of in a catch-22 without the ability to relocate. So please consider helping out a lady, okay, if you would. Thank you for doing that. So Redeemer of the Soul, a symbol of the indwelling self who pays the penalty attached to imperfection. Okay, so a symbol of the indwelling self who pays the penalty attached to imperfection. There's a penalty for imperfection, but everybody hates the word perfection. Okay, so there's who pays the penalty attached to imperfection with his own divine life, his blood, and then it's in parentheses his blood. So I'll read that one more time. A symbol of the indwelling self who pays the penalty attached to the imperfection with his own divine life. In other words, you're paying. People are forfeiting their divine life, their divine nature that is hiding within them when they, when they're self-serving. The souls are full of suffering and ignorance, well, that's for sure. And the price of redemption from blindness is the efflux of the divine life of the incarnate self, which by being assimilated by the imperfect souls gradually makes perfect the qualities in them which are imperfect. Well, mainstream Christians don't want to hear about this. They say nobody's perfect, never will be perfect.
I'm sorry.
It is a humorous, Ninja, because they carried a book with them all their lives. They read it all their lives, and they still don't get it. At one point, do you wake up, right? I mean, you've been reading something all your life. How would you like to dedicate your life to something, and then in the end, let it not be what you were hoping for? In other words, dedicate your life to a cause, and then, but in the end, you're still buying into the lie, right? And not being set free. Isn't it about being set free?
Yes.
Right? Being set free in the mind and in the body, right? If you're set free in the mind, then the next thing that comes is set free from this world, the trappings of this world, the slavery of the serpent. That serpent biting at our heels all the time. All of a sudden, we're now crushing it under our heel, right? It was biting at our heel, but then we're going to crush it, and it's over. Okay, we no longer are part of this world. That's the great mystery. The archetypal man, or Christ incarnate within every soul, gives his own nature that which the individual soul lacks. Okay, let me try that again. So the archetypal man, or Christ incarnate, so the archetypal man is hiding within us. That's the true character within every soul, gives of his own nature that which the individual soul lacks, in response to the soul's own efforts to prepare itself for ascensions of higher qualifications or higher qualities. The Redeemer is latent within until he is called forth by sacrifice and aspiration to save the soul from its captivity to its lower nature, and to raise it. That's the serpent, that's the flesh, and the soul to its lower nature, and to raise it to its pristine state of bliss, or baroques, the baroqueshness. There's not, bliss is like bless, and so it goes back into the baroquem, an endowment and enlightenment. A state of endowment, that's what it means. State of bliss is the state of endowment, enlightenment, and separation. Separate from what? This world. But I know that my Redeemer lives, and that he will stand up at the last upon the earth. And after you, my skin, S-K-I-N, after my skin hath been this way destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, whom I will see for myself, and mine eyes will behold, and not another. That's Job 19:25 through 27. I know that the perfect self lives within me, and that at the end of the cycle he will overcome my lower nature. That's in parentheses earth, and after my lower vehicle, in parentheses skin, my lower vehicle hath been thus destroyed, the serpent flesh. Yet rising from my lower self, the flesh, I will become one with the self. The individuality, will unite with him, capital H, the one of the many, that's Yeshua, who is also Yahweh, and not the personality. Okay, I shall become one with the self. The individuality, will unite with him, and not the personality, meaning the lower, meaning we're transformed. We become one with the one. We become like. We put on the nature of Yeshua. If the great Elohim then finds a passage from the sun to the grave, so must a way be discoverable for a shun, for man, from the grave to the sun. The death of the Prince of Life is the life of mortals, and it is the way of the mortal that he has to go. That's the life of Yeshua, page 433, D.F. Strauss. The great Elohim is conceived of the religious consciousness as not only the creator of the world, of things and of men, but, or we could say, like we were talking earlier, of goods, of things and of men, but men are the creator of goods, actually. But we know that Yeshua made all things, and therefore he gave us the knowledge to extend that, and we become creators. Okay, so the present life of us. Let me try this again. So the great Elohim is conceived of by the religious consciousness as not only the creator of the world, of things and men, but as the present life of the earthly soul. He is moral ruler, ethical ruler, and providence. He is redeemer, and he is the revealer and inspirer as well. Philosophy of Religion, Volume 1. The divine sufferer has Yahweh himself, who in creating the universe sacrificed himself for it. The cross, therefore, in other words, it's like another way to say it is he gave himself a job, right? Because he could have been at rest and at peace and just not had to bother, but he wanted to bring forth a creation, so he went to work. He went to work, but then after he designed it all, it said he rested, and so now it's Yeshua who is the active agent and working full time on our behalf. Yet he's in his rest too. So it's amazing how they can do all this work and they're still at their rest, right?
Yes.
They're still at rest. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're told that we have ceased from our own works and need to be at rest, and not to be caught up in the illusions of this world. Yeah. But to realize that we already know the nature of things that are going on, and therefore can be focused on the important things and not the illusions that that you can't fix. But the only one we can fix is ourselves. Not that we can't fix the weather, we can't fix this planet, we can't fix stupid people. They have to fix themselves, and they don't want to do that. They want to think they're going to go as they are, bring the garbage dump along with them. The divine sufferer was Yahweh, who is the great Elohim himself. Of course, the word God is here, but God is the Pope, so let's get straight here. So the divine sufferer was and is Yahweh himself, who in creating the universe sacrificed himself for it. The cross, therefore, represents the greatest of all sacrifices, not something that happened once and for all, but something that is eternal and timeless. The sacrifice of the great Elohim in and for his own creation that could not be unless he poured his own life into it and restricted himself within its forms and substance. Great is this mystery of purity, purity. Okay, you get purity is what it's about. Okay, not corruption. And unthinkable in its magnitude is the sacrifice, for it means nothing less than the identification of the infinite with the finite and its lowest forms. Here is the profoundest mystery open to earthly contemplation, to speak or think of which is possible only in forms of symbol and parable. Okay, so to speak or think of which is possible only in forms of symbol and parable. You see what we're doing, Ninja? That's what we're talking about here, right?
That's what we're learning. That's what's opening up.
Yeah, we have to get to the core of the meaning of symbol. Letters and words are symbols, and they tell a greater story. The original story is locked within these symbols. Yeah. These are the seeds of light.
Yes.
It's about one theme, the play of the one. Okay, that's why they had to go into these other alphabets. Yeah. You see, because our alphabet, the capital letters, is telling the story, and they don't want us reading it. And so that's why they mix it up with small letters. That's why they changed the Aramaic in the East with the Christian Aramaic. What they call Syriac or Aramaic today. That's why they created the false Hebrew or the Yiddish Hebrew lettering system. That's why they got Arabic. That's why they in Greece, even though all the Greek monuments in Greece have the capital letters, yet when you look in a Strong's Concordance, you see these funny little squiggles called Greek. That's not Greek. It's demotic. It's made by those demons. Made by the unseen hand, because they don't want us to study those capital letters, to recognize that is the original, and that is the source of opening up the great mystery of our existence here on earth. Okay, continuing. The literal truth is too vast, too mysterious, too sublime to be made known to earthly comprehension, especially when you're being lied to about it. Creation is none other than Yahweh's primordial and continual self-revelation. So nature is revealing. It is a revealer, if we can read it. It is the great Father coming down and voluntarily incarnating himself and being made a Shan for us. A Shan, and for our salvation. So he came down and was made flesh. K.C. Anderson, sermon, Cradle of the Moeshiach. And so he showed us how to interpret these things. And we got one more here, it looks like, and that is the redemption of the soul. And any follow-up or anything on that, Ninja, real quick? I'm taking a sip of my throat tonic here.
Okay, just wow, so far.
Okay.
Yeah. I love listening to read from the dictionary of scriptures and myths.
Well, yeah, this is one I read every day.
It's amazing. It's an amazing book.
I'm reading through the dictionary. I do one alphabet letter a day.
Yeah.
And I go to the next one, and it's we got to because it's telling too much truth here. We want to know. We want to know all the meaning of these Aisha wars. We have to hear them over and over, and apply them. You know what? I'm getting talked out though. I think I'll save this as part 2 for Friday. Okay, I'm going to save this for part 2 because I'm really losing my voice now.
Yeah, I can hear the difference. Yeah. So
I just want to thank you for your help today, Ninja, in doing this work and the great production you're doing. You did a great job on the Mediterranean flood, on the cosmic essence, and also on chess. I encourage people to go listen to them. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Okay, and bring your questions on. There is no hard question that we can't possibly find an answer to. I'm wanting to answer questions for people because they didn't get to go down the journey that I did of learning and collecting 60 different versions of the scriptures, or collecting the lost writings, or reading dictionaries. I've got the most important dictionaries on the planet. I probably have about 30 dictionaries, all different periods of times, on different subjects or topics, and you name it. It's a big deal, and we've got to be set free by knowledge. Before we can eat from the fruit of the tree of life, we have to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. and our Redeemer. Yeshua is the tree of knowledge. The tree is the universe, okay? And when Moses saw the burning tree, it wasn't a burning bush. You can't see a bush burning up on a mountain way far away, but a tree you could. A burning tree, and he went, and the burning tree represents the sun. The sun is the burning tree that we have to go climb the mountain and see. A beautiful metaphor, Ninja.
Yes.
No?
Desert.
You see? And so we relate it to one thing. We see one image and it gives us another image. We have to. That's why they wanted us to think it was a bush. They knew the tree would be too obvious. So the priesthood, those Jews, gotta love them, and I guess hate them at the same time. Then the calf was not a calf; it was a bull. The Torah is a bull. They can't. What do they say in Spain? Toro. What do they say in Japan when they attacked Hawaii? Torah. Torah is bull. It is power. It is destroy. The bull destroys, right?
Yes.
He wants to destroy you, and he don't know why, but he's going to do it. And he's got that star in his eye. That's the bull's eye. When you've been, like we talked before, you get stuck in the middle of a field, you see a bull there, you know what the bull's eye looks like because it's sparkling right at you.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
So things are not as they seem. We have to see things in new ways. We have to hear new things, and we have to realize that we've been lied to wholesale. Wholesale means total, complete, in every aspect of life, including all the scriptures, by the religion. Even Protestantism has been taken over again by the Jesuits. When Protestantism was trying to be set free from the beast system, it got all infiltrated by Freemasons and Jesuits, mother sons of darkness. And we have to talk. If we can't talk, so bring on your questions, Barb. I'd love to hear from you. You want to do damage behind the scene and talk about us, but why don't you talk with us? Why don't we bring it on the table? Let's be honest about it, right? Come on down. And don't worry, I don't beat people up. Let's do it, okay? Let's be respectful, and let's put with questions to the questions, and then maybe we'll get some answers, okay? So, Ninja, I want to thank you for the program today, and who do you follow? Let me ask you, who do you follow in your life? One guy, right? Who?
Yeshua.
Thank you very much. She follows Yeshua, and it's Yeshua who's allowing her to see these things clearly in her life. She's been persecuted most all of her life, and so the persecuted actually have a greater shot at transcendence than those who got mediocrity and everything's okay. But Ninja has been extremely persecuted. She sees these things on her own. I don't have to convince anybody of anything. That's why we have a small listenership, because most people love the lie.
I didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in anything until a year ago, or just over a year ago.
Yeah, so, I want to set my friends free. They don't follow me. I'm just giving them information that's important for their transcendence, for their enlightenment, to be set free from the lie. That's what we talk about here. We show all the lies. That's the only way to find the truth, and that's why we have a very unique presentation. But we have a translation project. We have the original thought transliteration project, and so we define the Yochelleg, the words. The English is lying. In the beginning was the word. Okay, you like the fact it says was the word. Okay, not is. In the beginning, it's no longer the word. Okay, and then in the beginning was God, not is. If we want to use their terminology, how about in the beginning is the Yeshua. In the beginning is Yahweh, and you see, and so they changed the littlest words. They changed the names of our deities, and so. But you like that? You want somebody to change your words, and you're happy. You're happy with that, and you don't need to know anything. But Jesus loves you. Yes, I know, for the Bible tells me so. And Jesus is a corruption of the Aramaic Yeshua, which originally is in the more primitive Yashulanva, meaning the knowledge of the serpent that goes round. And instead, they love Jesus, which, of course, in the Indo-Germanic means you pig snout, or Yeshua in the the charismatic messianic movement, which came out of the Babylonian Talmud. Yeshua means may his name be blotted out forever. Don't you want to be set free, ladies and gentlemen, from the lie and stop being a fool, just like the word Yahoo is a corrupted term. That means you're the biggest fool on earth if you like to be a Yahoo, you know? I'd have to go look it up. That's one I can't remember the exact definition of it at the moment, you know, and it just goes on. Okay? You are supposed to be in control of the words, not the words in control of you. You're supposed to be a scholar. If you have an enlightened mind, you know, they say that we use like 5% of our brain. You know, Yeshua came to bring us the enlightenment. And all we see is stupid, you know, stupid people that use words that are not the original, yet it's all an open secret. It is possible to know that you can know that you can know, and yet you don't want to go to work to do that. I mean, you can listen in and don't have to do any work, and we'll give it to you, you know, because I freely received it from Yeshua, and I freely finished with the song. Perhaps we will. I guess that's Rondi Gandhi Rashi Tachich, who's a little upset right now because we're spilling too many of those proverbial beans.
Yeah.
And that's on the rosary, the rosary beans. Okay. Ninja, I'll let you go.
Okay.
Thank you. Love you, okay, for doing your this great work here, for your dedication to the truth. That's it. You just love the truth. You don't care how bad it is. Just give you the truth and you'll learn how to deal with it, right? And you're tired of being lied.
Exactly.
Right? It's all mine. So let's keep telling the truth. And let's make lemonade out of those lemons, Ninja. So we'll talk to you on the other side. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, all of you. I'm out of here.
Okay. Thank you, Desert. Peace and light always. Always. May you live forever. Thanks, guys, for joining. I hope we're back. Oh, yeah, we're back. I hope you enjoyed the Forbidden History Chronicles. You heard it here first. You really did. It was amazing. And be safe out there, please. Creating light for you guys always. And sorry, multitasking, trying to find some music to finish with. Yeah, just be safe. And Zealot, thanks for joining. Oh, wow. Yeah, creating light for you as well. Wow. Okay. Never good at endings. Alright. I'll see you guys later as soon as I find the music. Okay, this one will have to do. Okay, be safe out there.